What's up, guys, and welcome to the Monday Morning Meta Report. I'm Hoagie, and today is Monday after week one of the Kickoff Clash of the Overwatch League. This is going to be a weekly, just kind of quick rundown of what we've been seeing in the meta from the Overwatch League, and then talking about what we might see in the coming weeks in the Overwatch League as well. So let's just jump right into this. We've got ourselves a tier maker on obviously tiermaker.com. You can check this out. It's public, the Overwatch League 2022 meta. And we're just going to go through every single character that we have here and then talk about what we saw over week one and then what we might see going into week two. So we're just going to go straight down the line. First is Ana. Ana is definitely an S tier must pick. She's got the only CC on the support line. She has a lot of insane value with ranged healing and stuff like that. And Biotic Grenade is insanely strong at the moment. I think Ana was probably around a 100% pick rate. If you have like a link to where I can actually find pick rates for Overwatch League Season 5, please hit me up because I couldn't find it anywhere. Next, we have Ashe. We saw Ashe a couple times, mostly like in the Outlaws Dallas Fuel game. I think there was some value that we got out of there, but she's definitely not the strongest hit scan. I'm going to put her down in the C tier. Next, we have Baptiste. Baptiste is not really a great meta pick right now. You get so much value from teams being grouped up. You get value both from his healing, also from Lamp. And because the team is so spread out, you don't really get much value from Window. I don't think we saw him a ton, maybe in a map or two, but I'm going to put him in the D tier. Then we have Bastion, who we did not see at all, and I think they're so much better. There's so much better hit scan, so much better mobility, so much better damage output at the moment. So probably going to be a while before we see. And there's also just no shields to help him out, even though he does have increased movement. So Brigitte was an interesting pick because I feel like we saw her quite a bit, especially in the Echo comps, being able to deliver health packs kind of on the move. And also she gets a little bit of backline safety to Ana in those compositions as well, being able to knock back with shield bash and things like that. I think we're probably going to see Brig in. I'm going to say let's put her actually in the B tier because I think she definitely gives more value than the Ashe does. Cassidy we did not see at all. I think he's in this weird like Cassidy's really good in kind of deathbally comps where you can collectively run in together. And with sticky grenade rather than flashbang, no real CC. So, yeah, we didn't see him very much, or I don't think we actually saw him at all. Doomfist, S tier, insane mobility, lots of knockback, big disruptor, one of the two big tank options if you want to run dive at the moment. And yeah, I don't think we're going to see Doomfist really go anywhere. Next, we have Diva. Did not see Diva very much either. We saw her a little bit on Dorado in the Houston Dallas match. And I think that there's maybe some untapped value and potential with Diva, but you really have to weigh that against the options of what's already out there. And so, but I think when it comes to shutting down Soldier ult, shutting down Sleep Dart, shutting down Biotic Grenades, I think Diva might find her way a little bit more into the meta as things go on. But as it stands right now, I think Diva's probably around a C tier with Ashe. Next, we have Echo. We saw kind of the good and the bad of Echo throughout this weekend. We saw Pelican do a lot of good work. We saw we saw a few different DPS people piloting Echo in a good way, but we also saw Yaki beat his head against a wall in the first match of the season with Echo because there's so much good hit scan on the field at the moment that you have to be able to really navigate the map well. And with her not having a lot of like pocketed healing or damage boost from a Mercy, I think it knocks her value down a little bit. I'm gonna put her in the A tier though because of the if we were to rank all of the DPS, we've got two people above her, and then I think Echo is definitely the third option. Genji is an S tier. I don't know why his head's cut off in this thing that I made. Oh well. But Genji is definitely an S tier. The lack of backline CC outside of Sleep Dart is benefiting Genji a lot. He's hyper mobile, deals a lot of damage. His ult is impactful, can be paired with Ana's ultimate as well. So he's certainly an S tier. We didn't see any Hanzo at all this week. I think because there's you're getting just as consistent damage output from your hit scan without having to have like a projectile player on the field. So didn't see any Hanzo. We saw Roadhog in the Florida Atlanta match. If you didn't check out my review of that, you can look it up on YouTube right now. And it did not go well for Florida. It was point A of Gibraltar. Look, the meta right now is dive. It's mobility. It is it's being able to kind of create a lot of space in order for crossfires to work and be set up. So we saw Hog enough to have information. We're going to put him in the D tier as well. Didn't see Junkrat, high damage output, obviously, but, you know, the changes to the way that his trap works, things like that, and just because Junkrat requires such good high ground positioning, and there's so much good high ground contest right now that Junkrat's not in the meta. Lucio is an S tier. We are in the dive world right now, and Lucio has a lot of playmaking ability with one less hero on the field for each team. You want to have all the playmaking that you can have. His speed burst, this is on the first patch of Overwatch 2, and so his self-healing and sustainability is really insane. So yeah, we saw a lot of that. Definitely S tier. May is we saw some May in some weird Reinhardt comps, and May is really good if you want to pull off an illegal play, as we saw yesterday as well. But outside of that, I don't think May really has much of a space. She doesn't have a ton of mobility. She's kind of susceptible, even though she has ice block, and not being able to freeze her opponents fully on the field, I think is a struggle. And also one thing I think outside of Lucio really is like the characters who rely on their ult to be really, really impactful, but also it takes a lot of time for them to get their ult, are definitely falling down in the meta because of just where we're at in terms of how ult charge works. We did not see a ton of Mercy, but we did see Mercy pocketing Echo on a couple of occasions, but the playmaking ability for her just isn't there. And so I'm going to have to put Mercy down in the C tier. You still get some utility out of her with her damage boost and stuff like that on some of the hit scans on the field, but there's just way better supports that exist right now. We didn't see much Moira. Again, we're not playing Deathball style compositions at the moment. It's all dive all the time. Moira gets all of her benefit and advantage from her team being grouped together, running as a unit, and because of that, she also isn't able to charge her ult nearly as fast. And even if they were, I don't know how meta Moira would be, because Moira was always meta in pro because she had a tendency to be able to get her ult almost every single fight. And I don't know if that's really possible in Overwatch 2 now. We also did not see any Orisa, I don't think, over the weekend. And I think Orisa's just kind of in a weird space right now. Like, she's got some abilities that want to put her in the middle of the fight. Her gun does a lot more damage in close range, but I think in terms of survivability in the middle of the fight, I don't think she has a ton of it. We're also just there's no real high ground contest with Orisa, which is really important right now, and so we didn't see any Orisa. We saw a little bit of Pharah again in the Houston match. I don't know if we saw it anywhere else, just because, as always, Echo is just a better Pharah at the moment, and probably will be for a while. I'm going to put Pharah down in the D tier. Lots of damage output, but it's not, and it's super consistent, but it's not super reliable because there's such good hit scan. We saw a little bit of Reaper, especially on like Lijiang Tower Control Center. I can never remember the names of the actual stages, but yes, in where White Room is, we saw some rush compositions, and we saw them a couple times, like I think on like Eichenwald, defense for point B. He's got a lot of good high ground contest. He's got a lot of good damage output, and he doesn't totally rely on the impact of his ult to get all of his value. I think we'll put him in the B tier for now. I still think Echo is probably the better third damage option over Reaper at the moment. Next, we had Reinhardt. Reinhardt feels a little bit lost in the current meta, if I'm being completely honest with you. The shield doesn't get a ton of value given that so many teams are running multiple points of pressure with their damage. So, a lot of damage coming in from the back line, long range with Soldier, then Genji in the back line of your team. And so Reinhardt really doesn't have anywhere to point his shield to get a lot of value out of it. We saw this on point A. Eichenwald a lot, and not a lot, but enough to see that it wasn't super effective. Next, we have Sigma. I feel like we saw Sigma a couple times on some of the escort maps. I think his shield being able to be deployed and pushed is good. I think he can get in the way and kind of harass the sight lines of hit scan players, but outside of that, I don't think we saw a ton of value out of Sigma. I'm probably going to put him a tier above D.Va because we did tend to see him a little bit more. But when it comes to like the things that you want your tank to be able to do, which is, I think, disrupt what you get out of Soldier, but I also think it's about being able to shut down some of the value that Ana brings. I don't think you get as much value out of him as you would maybe D.Va. We'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. So then we didn't really see any Sojourn, which is disappointing both for me and probably for Blizzard. They want to see their new character out on the field, but Soldier is just too good at right now. He's over tweaked on that kind of first initial release of Overwatch 2. We'll see what comes when the next patch comes, but yes, we did not see a lot of Sojourn or any Sojourn at all. Soldier is definitely an S tier. This is really the kind of meta composition at the moment. You get a lot of healing output and utility from Ana, a lot of healing output and sustain from your Lucio. Genji able to attack the backline, tons of hit scan pressure coming in from the Soldier. His kind of survivability is great. He's got a super impactful ult, and then Doomfist creating all the space that your team's going to need. We didn't see any Sombra, and I think this is all because it just takes so long to get ultimates in Overwatch 2. And Sombra, every time that there's a nerf to her ult charge, she tends to fall out of the meta because EMP is the reason that you play Sombra. You're trying to farm EMP. There's one less tank to farm EMP from. The damage that you deal to tanks doesn't give you as much ult charge. It just Sombra is just not in a great place right now. Sim, we didn't really see any Sim outside of the illegal play that we saw yesterday and just rolling out on control maps. So I don't think we have enough information about her to put her anywhere in the meta list here. Same thing with Torbjorn. We didn't see any Torbjorn over the weekend, and I doubt we're going to see him anytime soon, given how strong Dive is at the moment. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Wrecking Ball is disabled because of a bug, but we didn't see Wrecking Ball at all, so I'm just going to put him down here. All right, next we have Tracer, who it's funny, we saw him a little bit. We saw her a little bit throughout the weekend, but I think when it comes to dive heroes, Genji's definitely the person that you want to have. I think it's his dash and executability gives him a lot more advantage in the backline. I don't think we've seen as much Tracer as we're gonna see moving forward. I think we'll probably end up seeing a little bit more, but for now, I think we put her in the C tier. Next, we have Widowmaker, who we saw a couple times, and I think we saw some pretty sick plays coming out from Happy, especially on the Widowmaker. But Widowmaker's risk to reward kind of ratio is tilting her a little bit further down the tier list here, and so I'm gonna put Widowmaker at a C, but she can be as high as an A, depending on who's piloting her. But yeah, uh, if you're gonna have a hit scan on the field, you're most of the time gonna want it to be a Soldier 76. Next we have Winston, who I think belongs in the S tier. He's interchangeable with the Doomfist. If it's all about backline disruption, getting in and just being really annoying, you want the Doomfist. If it's kind of about sustained pressure, more classic dive style, you're gonna play the Winston. So yeah, I think Winston definitely belongs up here in the S tier. Then we have Zarya, and I think we started to see Zarya a little more as we progressed throughout the weekend, as they started to place a little more value on her cleanse ability with her bubble. But I think Zarya is always going to have a hard time breaking into kind of the mainstream of the meta, because it does take a long time to get Graviton Surge up, and it's hard to get tons of value out of Graviton Surge when teams are kind of spread out across the field. I do think we're getting more value out of Zarya than we are out of Sigma, so I'm going to put Zarya at the A tier. Then we have Zenyatta, and Zenyatta's just in a really difficult place at the moment in the meta. I don't think we saw any Zenyatta at all over the weekend, just because he doesn't really have any survivability in the back line. As long as there's a Genji out there, he's constantly going to be harassed. And so Zenyatta definitely probably somewhere if he were to get played in these bottom tiers, but we just didn't see him over the weekend. So this is your tier list. Obviously, Dive is where we're at right now with some mix up with Zarya. Dive is obviously like the meta composition at the moment. Tempo is a big thing in Overwatch 2 because there's so much individual playmaking that's able to be had on the field, and the more tempo that you can create, the more opportunity that you create for that playmaking. And so I think we're going to start to see Zarya a little bit more as people realize, like, oh, being able to cleanse Biotic Grenade is a really big deal, and her having two shield charges is really good. I think we're going to start to see Echo being played, moving more and more into the meta, just because she's got such good burst potential. She's a good nano target for Ana. Ana's a good duplicate target for the Echo. I think we're also going to start to see D.Va maybe move up a little bit on the tier list here, just because I think her defense matrix has such a good potential to deal with a lot of the things that are coming in from Ana, whether that's just her simple healing, or if it's or even if it's just if it's her Biotic Grenade, if it's her Sleep Dart. I think she can deal with the Soldier ultimate really well with her defense matrix. It's kind of a consistent, always available option for you to have. So I think we'll see D.Va a little bit more if they don't move over to the next patch. And then yeah, but I think everything else, we're kind of in a really stable place when it comes to what the meta is going to be, what we're going to see moving forward. It felt this weekend like teams had kind of figured it out. So yeah, this is your tier list for the Overwatch League 2022 meta as it stands on week 1 of the Kickoff Clash. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you next week for the Monday meta report. Monday morning meta report. Bye-bye.